In this video, I'm going to explain how to make your own free realms server using the Open Free Realms open source GitHub library. I have to give credit where credit is due. I'll shout out to the contributors of this project. I'm not one of them, though I am just somebody who's experimenting with this open source library just to have fun and play an old game that I used to enjoy playing. On their Discord, they have instructions on how to actually get your client and server running. The first thing you need is XAMPP, which you just download off of their website here and just download that. The second thing you need is the landwalker client. The landwalker client is what they use for, it's the actual client files for Free Realms, including their own built server and another important file that they ask you to use in the XAMPP installation. So when you download the landwalker, it looks something like this. Yes, this. So you have three folders: the server, client, and the landwalker itself. With the landwalker folder here, you want to actually drag that into your XAMPP directory, which you will have this on your C drive, XAMPP, and then htdocs, and you just put that folder. It's just a drag and drop. You just drag it into this area right here, and that should exist in your XAMPP htdocs files. Once that's there, now you have your actual client, and the server doesn't really matter as much because we're going to be compiling that from source ourselves. So let's just open up this folder and we'll kind of get started with actually getting the server running. Once you actually get the server files from the GitHub, you can just click them and then download them as well, just like everything else. Just download a zip, and then I put them in this folder that's on the left. So to make things simple, I have on the left the server files, and on the right the client files. Inside the server files, you get a OFR server, and I believe you just get the readme and git ignore. I added these other things, and I'll kind of explain how those are done in just a second. But inside this folder is the actual code for what I understand is the code for the game. I'm pretty sure Free Realms is heavily server dependent, as most multiplayer games are. So what this server does is it simulates the majority of things that happen. I think that includes movement, combat, and other things. I don't know if this currently has combat ability, but it does have movement ability and some other things, whereas the client is just rendering 3D models based on what this feeds it. So the server itself, you can double click on this SLN file, and if you have Visual Studio installed, which is another dependency of this project, and some C# modules, which they might also ask you to install. Make sure you just have everything installed that looks like it could be a dependency, and if you have any issues, let's let them know in their GitHub, or in their Discord, I'm sorry. Once you're in the solution, you should have some things on the side here, and you can just go up to Build, and then click Build Solution. I already have it built, so it says 4 up to date, but I will rebuild it for the sake of showing you how to do that. That's another requirement. If you do have any issues, it might require a rebuild, and also if you get any errors down here, you may also need to clean your solution by clicking Build and then clicking the Clean Solution button. I've just successfully built all of it, so that means the code is built, and that puts it in that bin folder. So now I actually have all of the server files are right here. However, they will not start until you use the config.json from the landwalker server. This is available right here. You just drag and drop the config.json, replace it, and you're pretty much good to go. So now that that's there, we actually have a working server which should start, and we can show that starting right now. Actually, before I even explain that, make sure your Apache server is running on XAMPP. Make sure you start that. Make sure this is started after you dragged and dropped that original landwalker folder into the XAMPP files, and then once you restart the program, you can now actually start the Apache server and then officially start the Free Realms server. The Free Realms server, the client sometimes has some issues connecting to it, but otherwise this server can stay active while certain things are actually changed in the game. For example, there are customization compatibility settings here. Inside your actual server folder, inside of your customize folder, there is a packet send to self client JSON, which can be opened and modified. So for example, I have some skin tone settings. You can set your first and last name, some other random variables here, and even a spawn location. So you can actually place yourself or position yourself around the map at different positions. There's your ability to change your head, ability to change your hair, your player model, things like that. The player model I'm using currently is 1. That is a default male. There is also 60, which I believe is the default female. There is 2, which is the default male pixie, and then there's 61. I'm pretty sure this is off the top of my head. That is the pixie female. If you scroll down, I don't know what this stuff is, but if you scroll down at least this far to line 264, there's the start of the inventory. This is what's on your head: gloves, shirt, pants, shoes, etc. This item declaration and the category within the item 2 object. I don't know exactly how these things work, but the item GUID defines what you're actually equipped in these slots, or what items are equipped in these slots. So far, a lot of people in the server have just been kind of randomly selecting numbers and seeing what works. That's what I did to kind of customize my character, but there is a more advanced way to actually get it set up. But that's really for the developers to understand. It's beyond me, to be honest. But once you're happy with your character customization, or what at least looks good, you can minimize that and then go to your landwalker client and actually start the game. This is the moment of truth. So you start the landwalker.bat file. That basically just runs the exe with the right information for your server. And you get your loading screen, and you should boot straight into the game onto your server. So here I am with my character that I had. My customization settings are loaded in. My name has loaded in. And I don't know if you can hear it, but the music's actually working, which is very, very nice because it's extremely nostalgic. So the world is interactable. It's not just a single 3D model. The world does exist. There are animations to the world, and also I really enjoyed these jump pads, which they do actually work. Okay, so now I've broken it. The server, or actually I shouldn't blame this on the server, the client for some reason can't connect to the server for longer than like 2 minutes. So what you should do here, if this does happen to you, you can basically just press escape. This is kind of a hack, but you click ask for help, then you click this first X after the web browser fails to load, and then you kind of get your typical HUD. You can click the shopping button down here, open the shop up, and then when you're inside the shop, you can press exit, which gives the client access again to all of the controls, but there's still a HUD that's in the way. Then you just press F10, you remove that, and now you can pretty much infinitely play the game. Although, because of the fact that I was on the jump pads, my camera won't move, and now I'm looking from a top-down view. But if your camera is angled correctly, you can now pretty much play the game and explore at your leisure in a local instance, which is pretty nice. But anyway, that's how you play. So that's pretty interesting. If you have any questions, don't let me know. Let the people know in the Discord server. They can help you because they're actual developers. But I was happy enough to get this working and get it in a state where I'm happy with it. So hopefully this tutorial helps.